It's time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by TheDartZone.com. Stay in the zone. TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
How you doing?
Good.
Happy Festivus. A Festivus for the rest
of us.
Also, Merry Christmas. Happy Holidays. Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. A really big show.
Big show.
Really big show. We had a whole week, and they just wrapped up a few hours ago round one of the World Dart Championship.
Mm-hmm.
However they're saying it in London. And
very warm London.
I tried to watch every single match. I almost made it. Some of them I could barely stand.
You made up for me.
Yeah,
I
caught you up on.
I watched
on
none of it.
I caught you up on the one. It was on. You could have watched it on your phone at any time.
Yeah, well, I can't watch it on my phone when I'm walking around the city.
Well, you just stick in headphones and then you listen to the audio and then
Yeah, but you're not always getting a signal.
Well, mine was pretty good. I got Sprint. I wandered around the city for hours shopping, and I heard the whole thing.
Okay.
It was kind of hard to follow. There were some upsets. There were some great matches. There were some, well, there's no other way to put it. There were some horrendous matches.
Well, that's going to happen
horrendous.
when you have that many matches going on.
There was one guy didn't really look like he belonged, but outside of that, with the preliminary guys, I thought they were pretty good. And we'll go
Who
through.
was that one guy?
I think everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Okay.
When you got 17 left and you throw fat 11 and then go for the double 8, either you've lost your mind or you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
I didn't look like he knew what he was doing. I mean, you
I
go to the
take it
World
he didn't
Championships and you average a 60. I mean, I guess that gives hope to everybody who's ever played like intermediate league matches that they've got a chance, but in reality, you really don't. I was
17,
tweeting.
he hit the 11.
Hit a fat 11. He miscounted, obviously.
Oh, sure. And then he went for double 8 or double 4.
I was tweeting with one guy, and he's like, "Oh, this guy's the MVG of Taiwan or Thailand," and I'm like, "You mean the MSG of Thailand?"
Right.
Because I mean, this guy can't play. It's obvious he can't play. I don't care if he's like some soft tip legend in Thailand. The guy can't play. End of story. Oh dear, we don't want that now, do we? God, this thing lags and lags and lags. Anyway, we're going to go through the first round matches, and then we'll preview the second round matches, which are starting the day after Christmas. Disclaim away, and then we'll get right to it.
The views, opinions, rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
Okay. So, the hat. What do the White Sox want for Christmas? Cespedes?
Or Alex Gordon, but I'm thinking Cespedes.
Right? I mean, he's going to cost you, but you get another home run hitter with Frazier and Abreu, and now maybe you have a chance.
I think if you took the difference between the two, you're talking a couple extra $1 million for a guy that's – they're both clutch hitters, but I don't know. I think you want Cespedes.
I don't know. I mean, Cespedes is more
Add him
of
to
a
the Cuban
hit or
connection
miss
of the
guy,
team,
but
and
yeah, I think the Cuban guys are a little isolated.
they're still going to need pitching, but they could be the murderers row like Toronto was last year, where you were in the fight till the end.
Yeah, if you can't get the pitching, at least have the hitting. I mean, I don't understand what they did. They got rid of Flowers, who's like the number 3 defensive catcher for the guy that's 57th and the guy that's 61st.
Right.
I mean,
But the bottom line is they were 30th in almost every defensive category, and Tyler Flowers was part of that problem. So in effect, I agree with you though. I mean, at some point, if you're going to upgrade all your offense in different areas, you got to keep some defense there.
Defense up the middle.
Yes,
right.
It's huge.
Yeah. So anyway, enough baseball.
Not
so
everything is.
All right. What happened?
Hey,
Let's.
We could have a Chicago World Series. You never know.
That'd be awesome.
But anyway.
All right. So day one of the World Darts Championship was Andy Bolton and Per Lawson. I don't even remember who we picked. I just remember the match.
I think at the end of the day we'll review our picks.
Okay.
At the end
if
of the
we have
tournament.
time. At the end of the tournament. Okay. So you got a day one there. So
I do have day one.
All right. Match one. Here we go.
Ready?
A lot of matches to get through.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Yes. Andy Bolton 2-1 over Per Lawson.
Yeah, that's
So
two
this is
sets to one. Yep.
The play-in match.
What were the averages like? Not
83 and 79.
83 and 79. Yeah. Andy Bolton didn't look that bad. Per Larson, I mean, I really expected more from him, but it was a relatively entertaining match. It just wasn't really compelling. The first set was, kind of, I think
2-3.
Yeah, but then after that, it was just
Then-
sort of like,
yeah.
here's your opportunity, and then after you miss it, I'll give you one. I mean, it wasn't a real high standard, but it was close. So in that sense, it was compelling, but it wasn't really going to matter. I didn't really see whoever won that match getting by Gary Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was impossible.
Daryl Gurney beat Jamie Lewis 3-1.
Beat him handily, and I was impressed with Daryl Gurney. He played much better than I expected, and just thrashed him.
Yeah,
I mean, he outscored him the entire match.
Jamie Lewis took out 46% of his doubles, but he had 14 less opportunities.
Yeah. Daryl
So-
Gurney beat him down the board almost every leg, and I don't know. It was fun to watch. I was impressed with the way he was firing them in. I expected more from Jamie Lewis, but Phil Taylor said on whatever day he played, I think the third day, that it was hotter there than it was in the summer, and I think part of the reason that overall, I think everyone agrees that for the first round, play was far less scintillating than people expected, and the averages reflect that. I think the conditions were much harder on the players than they have been in the past, and simply because the climate in London, it was just really warm.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you play hockey in June.
Conditions.
Yeah.
You're talking about
And the ice
conditions
is
when
soft.
you're indoors.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's hot on those stages anyway. They got
Yeah.
all the TV lights and everything, and you see these guys perspiring. Now let's put the lights out, and it's
But
London.
Don't they have
I
air
don't
conditioning?
in England. I don't think you're allowed.
No?
Yeah.
All right.
So I think it was just like a really Boston Garden kind of warm atmosphere, at least for a couple of the days there. So
Peter Wright took care of Keegan Brown quite handily.
Yeah,
3-0.
and Keegan Brown didn't show up, and I was disappointed by that because of all the young guys that played during the week, the one I really expected a lot from that didn't perform was Keegan Brown. A lot of the other guys did great. Keegan Brown didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's back to the drawing board for him. I don't know how you can. And they're talking about how he practices with Peter Wright, and Peter Wright's got this relationship with him. I mean, put up a fight. I mean, it's some of these guys that go up there and look like they don't want to be there really irritate me, because there's tons of people that would love to have the opportunity to get on that stage and play, and then you have that opportunity and you do nothing with it, and you look like you didn't even prepare.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty sad.
He got broke on his throw 4 times.
Oh, he hit nothing. He had 5 tons in the entire match.
We had 5-ton 80s.
Yeah, but he had 5 tons. I mean,
Yeah,
if he
that's
didn't hit
it.
a ton 80, he was throwing like 45s.
Right.
I mean, it was absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible day. Terrible
And then
day
it
for
goes
Keegan
back
Brown.
to what we said earlier. Andy Bolton did not stand a chance against Gary Anderson. 3-0.
Yeah, he won a couple legs at the end. And I think that was just Gary Anderson kind of not paying attention. I mean, literally,
Yeah,
he should have won a leg.
3-0, and
Yeah.
then 3-2.
So, Anderson kind of let him back in there at the end, but there was never any doubt as far as that one went. What did Anderson average?
97, I believe it said.
Yeah, there's a lot of like middle 90s
99, I'm
averages.
sorry.
99? Okay. There's a lot of middle 90s averages that I think the players that threw them are going to throw higher.
Yeah, it looks like Gary just coasted through it, though. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
he only
Bolton
threw
was kind of
34% on his doubles, but if he had it in hand the whole time, I mean,
Bolton was just happy to be there. I mean, Anderson's going up there. When you have 4 or 5 darts at a double, somehow you end up using them all.
right.
Right?
Yes.
Like you're
I'm
on
going
60
wide right
and the
for
other
sure.
guy's on 234 and then you
Yeah.
go and then you kind of let's not miss low and you end up using all your darts and so it affects your average. But
Right.
as far as the outcome, that one was never in doubt.
All right, so we're on to day 2.
Day 2. What was the prelim there? Oh yeah.
Kwang Sun against Mark McGowan.
Mick McGowan. Yeah,
Mick
and
McGowan.
I remember thinking that this was Mick McGowan's chance. And if you look at the set scores, I mean, it wasn't like, was it 3-1?
0-3-3-1.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really showing up. But McGowan, I think, how many doubles did he miss?
10.
10 darts at doubles and 7 legs. So, I mean, don't say you didn't have your chances.
No, but I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Did I say that
McGowan
right?
won,
McGowan
right?
won.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Quinn Sung missed 8 out of 9 doubles, 11%.
11%.
He shot a 64 average.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
So that's a cruise.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I thought you said something else. And
I
I was like,
think
what?
I did.
Yeah.
So that was a playing match.
Okay.
So, then you got Darren Webster beats John Henderson 3-1.
Yeah, I picked that one. And if you look at at how consistent Webster scored versus Henderson, I think he had like more than twice as many tons as Henderson did.
Yes.
I think that was the whole match right there. I mean, Webster was
Everything else
way,
was the same.
he's way sharper. And to be honest, Henderson is a swing and miss guy. He's the guy that rocks onto the front ball of his foot all the time. This huge dude, and Webster's built like a jockey. Remember I said
Yes,
so
yeah.
So that was the match.
Match. Yeah, those.
Yeah, and it's kind of like all that movement that you have to time. I don't know how he's gotten as far as he has, and everybody likes him. And okay, great, but I mean, you look at some of these guys and you wonder how they're even there. And it a lot of board time, a lot of natural ability and stuff. But I mean, I would never tell anybody don't throw like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till we get to the Russian, right?
Yes. Right.
Okay, so
But somehow they go in. Then you have Christian Kist took care of Justin Pipe easily, 3-0.
yeah, and if you look at what Pipe threw, I mean, there's another guy who kind of threw up all over himself, as they used to say on the PGA Tour,
Yeah.
and had no business even showing up.
75 average.
75. 75 average from Justin Pipe is like worse than bad.
50% on his doubles, but he was 2 of 4.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like literally let's go and not hit anything.
Pretty much.
And
He had
and,
9 tons and
but to Kist's credit, he goes up there, he's kind of very businesslike. He's quiet. He just goes, he throws his darts, he waits for Pipe with a little bit of disdain on his face that he couldn't quite disguise, and then he goes up and throws another ton 40. And Pipe had no answer. And I just, to be honest, I don't think Justin Pipe is long for the PDC. I just don't think I think he's going to lose interest because he's not getting results anymore. And I think, his style of play just isn't conducive to TV tournaments. I mean, on the floor, when there's no cameras around and you want to, play at that pace and what have you and throw your opponents off because, they're rhythm players and you're not. I can see him winning some matches that maybe he shouldn't win. And this is the thing, and I almost every major sport has some control over the length of the game and the time that people use.
to an extent.
Right?
Yeah.
The NBA is a shot clock.
Yeah.
Football has a play clock, as well as a game clock.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey, hockey's so fast. I
Hockey,
think
you just
don't
keep
really.
playing till
Yeah,
there's a
you
whistle.
just. Yeah, you just.
I mean-
it's just skating around till there's a whistle.
Go, go, go.
I wonder though if at some point, like the PDC is going to institute some sort of shot clock. And it's going to have to be from the moment your opponent removes his darts, your third dart has to be in the board within 15 seconds. And if it isn't, you get a warning. And after 3 warnings, you lose a leg.
Yeah,
or
so
something. I mean, it would be awkward and messy.
The minute the opponent removes the dart to the amount of seconds till you have to be on the line.
Here's my.
You should still be able to set up as long as you want, don't you?
Well,
think?
I mean,
but you shouldn't be able to lollygag up to the line.
To be honest, like the Russian guy who walked all the way to the end of the
Mm-hmm.
stage and didn't move forward until the other guy he's wasting time. I mean, look at it this way. Let's say you take and not to pick on the Cardinals, but I will. Matt Carpenter steps out of the box. Spends 15 seconds, blah, 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 20 seconds, and he's getting his one foot in, then he gets his other foot in, and finally he's ready. That's 20 seconds. Let's say he does that 3 times a game. That's 1 minute. Okay. How many people watched Cardinal games live and on television this year? 20 million?
Yeah.
That's 20 million minutes that no one will ever get back in the history of the world.
But the Cardinals
because
fans
this
didn't
guy's
mind.
Well, tell us something about Cardinal fans. But when it comes to darts,
Matt
these
Carpenter
guys
was on the Cubs. I've told you this before.
I wouldn't want
mind
him.
it.
Don't want him.
But if he was on it, you wouldn't.
I
wouldn't
would
mind it.
be yelling at him to stay in the box.
No, you wouldn't.
And get on with
Not
it.
if he was hitting 320.
My point is, well, he didn't hit 320. My point is that, when it comes to some of these, very deliberate players, Justin Pipe has crossed a line where now you're watching paint dry. And I know he probably feels the pressure, but he's more comfortable playing
but I would
slow.
disagree, though.
You have to do something to prevent that from killing
the guy like the
your
Russian
product.
who is winning.
Well, we'll get to the Russian.
and
Don't
is
bring the
able-
Russian into it yet.
Is able to
because-
do something like that. Then how could you derail somebody from being able to do that and hit darts?
Look, I don't know if it was like the Chicago
Just
League
because you
rule
have
was
95%.
The Chicago League rule was that you had to throw your 3 darts within 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody did that, you would literally spend 11 hours playing a league match. Now, you would agree that that's too long.
Yes.
Okay. What I'm saying is that the PDC is going to have to look at some way to kind of like have a cutoff where you're too slow to play on TV.
Right. Okay.
So don't worry about it. Okay? You want to play that way, you could play that way, in the BDO or something. But, here,
But when you get on TV,
you have a shot clock.
You have a shot.
Yeah, you have a shot clock because it's too hard for the players to govern it and for them to make all these adjustments. Like they put a shot clock in basketball, so you didn't run the 4 corners offense and have 2 shots a half.
Okay,
right?
but also
that was a strategic decision
but also
people
when
would
they,
make.
When they started with the no huddle offense, they didn't have any rules against it, and now
it's legal.
They've made rules against it.
Well,
since then.
they've made rules to make the substitutions fair.
Yeah. Okay.
But the reason you run that is so the other guy
but
can't
they made
substitute.
rules to make it fair.
Yeah.
So they still have to change it to make it fair.
Well, you
So
can't
if
you got somebody at one speed and somebody at the other speed. The only thing you could do is say we now have a minimum speed that you have to meet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's a minimum speed on the highway. You can't go 25 on an expressway.
Well, you can.
Well, no, there's actually minimums.
I know.
Well,
I
so
know
you
there
can't.
are, but
I mean,
nobody
I
gets-
know people do. But.
Nobody gets pulled over for
So
that.
I don't know. My thought with Justin Pipe is it would save him a lot of aggravation too. Speed up, be at least
Right.
at this pace, be at this minimum pace, or you can't be on TV. Because when you think about the product that they're trying to sell, I mean, that could be really damaging, especially if it catches on. Right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
this is just kind of how I'm looking at it today.
I
but-
don't disagree with you. I guess the only problem, I have with it is that you're stopping somebody from being successful, but none of the people that are slow are successful. So it really doesn't matter.
Well, Justin Pipe was doing just fine.
Well, I mean,
and I
but-
think he's caught in this weird kind of thing where he feels like he needs to speed up, but he doesn't want to. He's resistant to it. Now he can't play at his pace, and it's playing like mind games with him. So that's kind of where I'm thinking. Where are we?
we're gonna just finish up the
Let's finish the day and take a
afternoon
break.
session.
Okay.
Where Mark Webster took care of the play-in of McGowan 3-0.
Yeah, and did McGowan put up any fight at all?
No,
Yeah. I mean, that was his opportunity.
Webster threw an 89 and.
Yeah, an
just
89
breezed.
average and
But he had 60%
good
of
on
his
the doubles.
and
Yeah,
just
you
said,
know.
that's it.
And that was if there was one consistent theme for week 1, it was like the people that came in that couldn't finish sharp for the most part, are
Right.
having a bad
I guess
Christmas.
I would say McGowan put up a little bit of a fight. He won 2 sets in each leg. So
well,
it's 3-2,
yeah, I mean,
3-2,
it all
3-2.
went to
So
yeah. I mean, it's
he
a
did
three.
put up
It's
a
3-0, but they all went to like
The final
can you hit
leg.
the clutch double?
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it. So that was too bad because that was his opportunity to
Right.
really make positive strides as far as the Order of Merit goes and stuff like that. All right, we'll take our first break. We'll come back. You listen to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve P. With you in a minute.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Hey, back for the second quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official console distributor. Where'd we leave off?
We have the evening session of day 2 that we have to finish up.
Okay, let's get to it.
I'm
A lot of matches.
Getting
It was,
there.
for the most part, I enjoyed watching them. It was nice having them on ESPN3, although
Thanawat
Oh.
Gawintawong loses 0-2 to Renee Edams.
I wanted to throw the guy a life preserver. I mean, he was he was lost and
They
in
both
over his
averaged
head.
under
and-
70.
yeah, it was horrible. Thanawat's the guy that
This looks like my averages.
Yeah.
High finish of 40.
Thanawat's the guy that had 17 left and
Mhm.
threw the fat 11 and didn't realize he had 6 left after
Yeah.
that. I mean, it was just sort of like
3 out of 25 on your doubles, 6 out of
Yeah.
29 on your doubles.
it was just so bad. The level of play was so poor
Ooh.
that I was just like, it was like the preliminaries from like 3 years ago. Like, you
This-
got to be kidding me.
this
What are
is
these
like a
guys even
nickel
doing
match.
here? Oh, yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible. And, there were, people going to a foreign country and flying 8,000 miles or whatever and playing on TV for the first time. I mean, I've seen guys, not play anywhere near their best. He won't be the first. He won't be the last. It was
Right.
just unwatchable. That was an unwatchable match. I couldn't see. I just went on the balcony and I was like, tell me when it's over. This is just terrible.
Kyle Anderson took care of Brendan Dolan 3-0.
Yeah, actually,
Brendan Dolan won a couple legs, but couldn't win the sets.
somebody said something. I think the PDC's listening to our show. He said something about the T-Rex arms versus the long stroke. I'll take the Kiwi. And I'm like, didn't we say that last
Might have.
week?
Yeah,
So now we're getting plagiarized by the PDC announcers. I guess we should be flattered.
we are flattered.
Okay.
Why not?
Send me a royalty check. I don't know. Yeah, Brendan Dolan, I don't know, his game. Kyle Anderson is like, he's the wave. Let me tell you, Rod Harrington has done a great job bringing up these young guys because there's a lot of them now. It's sort of like the Cubs. You got they're emptying the farm system and you're getting all this new blood, and they're great players and they're hungry and they're motivated, and the kind of guys like Brendan Dolan are going to be like, well, now wait a minute.
What
I'm
just
going to have
happened?
to work. I'm going to have to work harder
Right.
to maintain my position.
Mm-hmm.
And every year there are guys that kind of drop off. I mean, remember Dennis Ovens? He's not even playing in this
Right.
thing anymore. John Park didn't play in it. He couldn't win the qualifier in Canada. and it was I don't remember if it was Harrington or who was talking about, we're going to have to get rid of the Deadwood. Brendan Dolan, Deadwood, seriously? I don't know, but Kyle Anderson sure made him look like it.
David Pallett.
What was Anderson's average? 90?
90.
Yeah. Okay.
90 and a half. David Pallett took care of Kim Hybricks. Possible shocker there?
Yeah, well, every time I hear that name, I've got Pallid Bust of Palace going through my head. So Pallid Bust of Pallet.
See, I just
for,
think of pallets that you have to return when you get a delivery.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. Skids.
Yeah.
We call them skids, yeah, but they're pallets.
Right.
Yeah, he played great. Pallett played great, and
he got outscored.
Yeah, well, Hybricks, 32% on your doubles isn't really that good, and you're not going to win a world championship if you can't do better than 1 out of 3 on your doubles. Because I'll tell you, ask Ian White, how many whacks at a double are you going to get? And it's like Ian White was like dead center inside wire for an entire match, and he's going to have a bad Christmas. So
Right.
Pallett played sensational.
And then what everybody would have expected was Van Gerwen takes care of Renee Edams.
Yeah, I
3-0.
can't believe he dropped a leg. I wonder how many people bet on a whitewash there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
I'm pretty sure you
I
could
bet you can.
bet on which way the wind blows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
it was.
Renee actually
he
averaged
took-
90 compared to the 67, but when you don't throw any doubles.
It's a deceptive 90.
Right.
But he played okay. He didn't embarrass himself like some people did. Van Gerwen actually fell asleep toward the end, but I think it really mattered. What was the
Right.
final averages there?
Van Gerwen 99 and 90 for Renee.
Yeah. And it seemed like a sloppy 99. I mean, it was one of
Yeah,
those things where, Van Gerwen's just like, God, I can't believe I have to play this match.
70-ton 80s and 55% on his doubles, but yeah, I mean, he probably just
Yeah.
he's not.
Well, he'll play better.
Yeah.
He'll play, he wasn't really pushed. Got off to a big lead, and then it was like, whatever.
So that's it for day 2.
Okay.
So then we start day 3, and we have Kim
Viljanen? Viljanen, I think.
Viljanen. He beats Sven Groen 2-1.
Yeah, that was a close match. He had a nice third set when it
Both
was 1-1.
middle 80s average and
Yeah. Yeah,
But
middle
that-
80s.
play-in match that
Middle
fact, isn't
80s,
gonna
and then you're throwing middle 80s, and your doubles are at 33%. I mean, it's like, okay, you're a good player.
yeah,
Now go home.
somewhat competitive a little
Well,
bit.
you're a good player. If you can
Yeah.
average 90, or you can average 85,
Yeah.
and you can get 1/3 on your doubles, you're a good player.
Mhm.
You're not good enough, but you're good. I
Right.
mean, you didn't average 63
No, but you
or
would think
70.
you're throwing those numbers. You're throwing darts that are close enough where
Yeah.
you're probably wiring triples. You're wiring doubles. You're
Yeah.
a good player that just needs a slight improvement.
Well, more than slight, but it wasn't like the guy stinks and doesn't belong there.
Mhm.
There were some pros that didn't really do all that great either. Wait till you get to Wes Newton's match.
Steve Beaton wins 3-0 over Koha Kokiri.
Yeah, kind of a workman-like, very consistent game by Steve Beaton. He was never really pressured, but
Kokiri
then
won some legs, but
yeah, he won
yeah.
some legs, but Beaton was never really under any stress and just kind of kept it straight and just motored on. I mean, it was a somewhat uneventful match.
Well, the averages are close, but Kokiri was only 5 of 22 for the doubles. That's not going to win you anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to take advantage
put
of your
any pressure on
opportunities,
him.
and
Yeah.
that's the problem with Beaton. I mean, with the number of opportunities he gave Kokiri,
Mhm.
in the next round, that's going to bite you.
Right.
So it's like any other tournament. You have to improve every round, realistically, if you expect to win. So we'll see what we get out of Beaton in the second round.
Dimitri Vandenberg
Yeah.
took care of Ian White 3-1.
Yeah, every dart player's nightmare. Is it Van Derberg? Van Denberg
Van Denberg.
played flawless. He played so good, and he was big outs and big scores, and Ian White would battle and end up like needing a 141, and then hit the 2 triples and wire the double. Or he'd have 3 at 36, and he'd be like outside wire, inside wire, inside wire. I mean, it was a nightmare. And the guy kept putting more pressure on him, and Ian White couldn't hit the double when he needed to, under pressure. And I was surprised because he's the kind of guy you would think would hit it under pressure. But this guy, once he got the lead, he played with even more confidence than he was at the beginning. And Ian White was just, the poor guy. I mean, to go down in the first round is one thing, but he got outplayed.
Right.
And he got outplayed by, a good, fine, young, up-and-coming player. But
this says his checkouts were 11 of 12 for 50%, so I'm assuming it's 11 for 22.
Right.
But still 50% compared to 35% for Ian White.
And again, that 35% is the reason he lost. I mean, he averaged 92.4. Missing a lot of doubles. He missed how many doubles? 12?
11.
Missed 11 doubles?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's,
That's the match.
That's not that great.
Kevin Painter then takes care of Kim Vigian.
Viljanen, I think, is what it is. But, Painter played solid. I didn't think he played spectacular. He started out pretty good. But he played solid. There weren't a whole lot of hiccups. He was steady on his doubles. He was steady on his scoring, kind of what you would expect. So kind of a solid,
he wasn't
a solid first-round match. But compare his average to Ian White's. He only averaged like 1 point more.
Right.
And he was like, very much better on his doubles than Ian White was. And he won easily. So some of these draws, you look at him and you're like, geez, I wish I would have played the guy you played. Right?
Well, yeah, he got the play-in match as opposed to Ian
and
White.
that's your reward for, getting out there and, playing on the tour.
So then to start the evening session, the play-in match was Keito Ono against Alex
Tagarao. Yeah.
And Keito Ono took care of him 2-0.
What were those averages like? I thought Ono played
77. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ono played good.
Yeah, 91.
75% of his doubles.
I
6
think,
out of 8.
Yeah, I think, if you're averaging 90 or above, I think, for the most part, nobody can complain that you're in the field.
Yeah, they weren't hitting any big numbers, but
yeah.
Move it down the line. All right, so Whitlock loses to Ricky Evans.
Ricky Evans.
3-2. I don't think we saw that one coming.
Well, everybody knows that Ricky Evans is an upcoming and talented player. Whitlock blew match darts.
12 out of 42 on his doubles.
Yeah. And there you have it.
Out of 42.
But to be honest, they went all the way down, and Ricky Evans ended up with more composure than Whitlock. And that was kind of what I was saying last week, is like for the established guys, there's more pressure on them. Ricky Evans is up and coming, and I'm not going to say that he's happy to be there, but he's probably going in there saying, well, odds are I'm going to lose, but I have a chance, and I'm just going to go in there and not worry about it and play my best. I don't think Whitlock can have that attitude.
Yeah, but I mean, literally, he's standing behind the line watching Whitlock miss 3 doubles at a time.
Yeah.
And going, whoa, I still have a chance to win this.
Well, yeah, and he pulled it out.
That's probably never going to happen to him again.
What was the final? So it was 4-4. And then Whitlock blew. He blew doubles before that. But yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah,
it was just terrible for Whitlock anyway. And Whitlock used to be such a good finisher. Look at him now. He's going to drop. He's going to drop big time in the Order of Merit now. He didn't have a good year anyway.
Vincent Vandervoort, 3-0 against Lawrence Ryder.
Yeah.
He only lost 2 legs.
Yeah, not a big surprise. He's been pretty steady. What he averaged, mid-90s. Yeah, 95, no pressure, la-di-da-di-da.
Yeah.
But like Ian White, Whitlock came up against somebody who played at the kind of level you would expect from Ian White or Simon Whitlock, and they couldn't raise themselves to that level. It was really surprising. And I think that speaks to the pressure that the big names are under in a tournament like this.
Right.
Not that it bothered Taylor any, but
well, then of course Taylor takes care of Keito Ono, the play-in match winner, 3-0.
Yeah. Well, how many legs did Ono win?
He lost 1 leg.
Yeah. Well,
Taylor actually shot 9 out of 15 on his doubles. That's good for him.
Lately it is, yeah. I mean, for Phil to average 95 is somewhat like seriously, but I remember he fell asleep after the first leg.
Yeah.
He was throwing like 57s and stuff, and I was like, seriously, man?
Yeah, Quieto only averaged an 83, 1 out of 7 doubles. He put no pressure on him whatsoever.
Yeah, he had four whacks at a double in the whole match. Or was that Ryder? Oh, I see. So he had 7 whacks at a double and hit 1. No, I don't know.
1 out of 7 sounds awful.
He could have hit all 7 and lost.
14% doesn't sound as bad as 1 out of 7. So anyway, that's it for day 3.
All right, where are we on time?
We're ready for another break.
All right, well, this will be a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll recap day 4. Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve P. We'll be right back.
Dart Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Hey, back for the second half of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official console distributor. Before we move on, anything in the chat you want to elaborate on?
Oh, we just got
or
a couple
anything?
things. We've talked about this before. Averages are not the end-all, be-all, especially in the first round of the Worlds. I think Ian's average is deceptive due to not having many chances at outs. I mean, that's...
He got outplayed. He got pressured. He got put off his game because that Dutch kid played great.
Right. But we've said that in the past. So
yeah.
When you don't have shots at outs, your average is higher. I mean, that's just the way it works.
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
what was the thing about the highest average?
Well, the low average, even with the low averages, this was the highest first-round overall average in the PDC Worlds going back to 2006.
Good nugget there. Thanks, Hickories.
So that's,
even counting
kind of goes
Thanawatt.
back to what you're saying, though, that
The overall level of play is higher. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the players that are young and upcoming win because the players that have been there before aren't stepping up their game and get outplayed because they throw a lower average, or because the players that are up and coming throw a higher average and these guys can't sustain it and move it, get it up.
Well, I mean, guys,
higher.
You got a lot of seeds getting knocked out. I don't know how surprising it should be, but there were a couple of these kids really impressed me, as far as can you imagine if they keep it up what they're going to be like in 5 years? This 19-year-old I saw today or yesterday or whenever it was, I was like, holy cow! That was yesterday. The kid who played Michael Smith, I was like, 19 and you're doing that? I don't know. It was impressive with the young guys. All right, so where are we?
So now we're on day 4. Michael Restovitz against Rob Zvado.
Oh, the Kiwi. Yeah. Okay.
Zvabo.
Yeah, I think I thought Rod Zabo would win that, and I guess he
2-0.
did. Yeah, 2 close sets. Nothing.
Both average 78.
Yeah, kind of nervy, patchy. Who's going to hit the double kind of thing.
Restovitz apparently didn't hit as many doubles.
Well, I guarantee that's true. I guarantee you Zabo hit 6.
Andy Hamilton loses to Joe Mernon.
Yeah.
3-2.
And you know how I feel about Hamilton. I mean, I'm sure he's a lovely man, but I'd rather watch Joe Mernon play. It was a close match. It went all the way down to the end. And again, this is where you got the established player under pressure, got to hit it, got to hit something big. And there's a couple of instances where guys hit big outs to win stuff, but, like Ian White and Andy Hamilton didn't do it.
Okay, so Hamilton broke throw 6 times, and Mernon broke throw 7 times. So they're back and forth breaking throws.
Yeah.
That's got to be a lot of pressure when all of a sudden – is it more pressure for –
I don't know. It depends. I mean, I think back to when I used to play tennis.
The older player where is like, well, he broke me again, and now I have to break him? Or is it just like natural, okay, we're in a battle?
It depends. I mean, I've had matches where it was so much work for me to break you that I was a little bit tired on my throw.
Okay.
And then you broke me. And then I was like, okay, well, now I'm going to break you back. So I've had matches where the first 5 legs were all breaks. Mm-hmm. And I've also had matches where they all went with the throw. I mean, I don't think there's any sort of rhyme or reason to it. It's when are you hitting your big scores? If you hit your big scores on your throw, generally you're going to hold. If you hit your big scores on the other guy's throw, then
you better hit your double.
If you hit your double, then your chances of breaking them are real good.
Yeah.
So I remember playing tennis where, man, I'd have like on my serve, I'd have love games, right? And then on his serve, I don't know, 5 deuces. Deuce. And then it comes, now I have to serve, and now I'm tired, right? And then I get broken, and I'm like, oh, man, seriously?
Mensur Suljovic wins 3-1 over Jermaine Watamina.
Yeah, to be honest, Mensur Suljovic and the Russian guy fly in the face of convention so much that it makes you kind of wonder. If all you do is just put enough time on the board, it doesn't matter how you do it. Now, Mensur Suljovic averaged close to 100, if I remember right.
Well, he lost the first set 3-2, but then won the next 3 by dropping 3 legs. Yeah, 99.
Average of 99. Winning. I mean, that's some pretty heavy scoring. Don't tell me that guy, like Ricky Evans said that he practiced before he played Ian White. He's like, oh, I'm not really a practicer. I got here early. I played 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm ready. And that was it. And I'm just like, must be nice. Yeah. Must be nice to be 21 and not know that you can't do that and then go out and win. Or he played Whitlock or whatever. Whatever. Don't tell me that Suljovic only practices 15 minutes a day when he's pumping them in with the arm action he's got. I mean, I still believe that, the more moving parts you have, the more board time you need.
Yeah.
And that's like John Henderson. If that guy's not on the board 4 hours a day, he's toast. With all that movement he's got, rocking forward and stuff. So, but, Suljovic winning, I guess he's had such a good year, I shouldn't be surprised. Him averaging 100?
Pretty close to it, yeah.
Yeah, that I found surprising.
Right.
That's one of the higher averages you'll see of the winning first-round matches.
And then Jamie Caven took care of the play-in match winner, Rob Zvabo.
Yeah, it was actually a little closer than I thought. I mean, Jamie Caven
lost 2 legs in the first set.
He's
took care of him.
He's been working at it. I have him kind of in the same tier as a guy like Darren Webster. Real talented players that are trying to make that next step up. It'll be interesting to see if either of them can do it. I mean, Webster's a lot older, but I see them in kind of similar places as far as like where their game's at, even though Caven's ranked higher.
So now we get to the Russian. Alexander Oreshkin took care of Paul Lim in the preliminary match, 2-1.
Yeah. Now, what were the averages there?
You said that Paul Lim blew it, 89 and 88.
And look at the doubles percentages.
33 and 28.
Right. So they scored.
8 out of 24 and 6 out of 21.
They actually scored pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of
Lot of
ton
tons.
40s, a lot of tons, a lot of ton 40s. Paul Lim just could not hit the double to win after, I want to say Ovechkin, but it's not Ovechkin. The Russian guy, what's his name?
Oreshkin.
Or Oreshkin. I keep got the hockey player in my head.
Oreshkin. Not Ovechkin.
Okay, now
Oreshkin.
let's spend a minute on Mr. Oreshkin.
Yes.
He's left-handed,
Yes.
right? He's got a ring on every finger, including his thumb, on his throwing hand.
Right.
And a watch. He's got 20 pounds of bling on his throwing hand. And he's slow as molasses.
He is very slow.
Right?
Yeah.
He does it the same way every time. He looks down at his feet, so he must play soft hit because he looks down every time.
Mm-hmm.
Then he looks up and he does this little rehearsal stroke, and then he lets it go. I hope after he played Paul Lim that, or at least at the end of the day, he bought the TV spotter a beer. Because they could not figure out where to put the camera when this guy's... because he's like, I think I'm going to start on the 19s here. Okay, fine. I mean, I'm sure you have your reasons.
Right.
It was infuriating to watch him play. I think he put Paul Lim off a little bit because he's so unorthodox. And when you play somebody who doesn't really do it the way you think it should be done, a lot of people find that distracting.
Right.
And I don't know if it
But
distracted
if you're
Paul
getting
Lim
it
or
done,
not.
why should that matter?
Well, then it's irritating.
Okay.
Right? It's like a guy's got 60 left, and you see him go double 15, double 15. Now, is he stupid, or is he so good that,
Right.
he can beat you doing that? Either way, you're irritated. And you're
Yes.
probably more irritated that he went like triple 10, double 15 than if he went fat 20, double 20. You'd probably be more irritated if he did it the other way.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, there's this irritation factor, but the fact is that he had the thing won. Paul Lim had no business winning the second set. I mean, he's just going, the guy's just blowing double after double, and finally Paul Lim takes one. Well, in the last leg of the final set, Paul Lim's he's got 3 at 40 to win. He didn't come close to
I
hitting
want
it.
to know how the guy does it, though, the Russian. I mean, he doesn't follow through. It just
He's got the little spasm
goes,
stroke.
oh, I hope it
And-
goes in.
But
well,
obviously he does it the same way every time.
sure.
Like that's key. There's not a lot of movement. Right? Every now and then you see him kind of his body recoil or something. That looks painful. It looks like somebody took an acupuncture needle and stabbed him in the small of the
Right.
back, and they just let the dart go. But they're going in. The fact that the announcers, everybody are like, well, why is he starting on the 19? It's like, hey, he probably just figures
Well, it
one
was
triple is
annoying
as
them,
good as
too,
another.
Along with the cameraman, it was annoying them because they weren't expecting that either. And so their commentary is all based on the fact that if he hits a triple 20, what he goes next, and all of a sudden it's like, well, what do we talk about now? Because he just threw it the triple 19, and then you expect him to throw it the triple 19 again, but yet, no, wait, all of a sudden he goes up to the 20.
It was just sort of like, holy cow,
So,
where did
yeah.
they find this guy? But, fair play to him. It's like he is a model for the argument that you can play darts any way you want to.
Right.
And
If you can hit 'em.
you know what you're doing, and if you put the time in, and you have the mental composure and the patience, you can make it work.
Right.
It's painful to watch. I would rethink the jewelry, but okay.
Maybe he's just realized maybe he wasn't throwing that well until he put the ring on his thumb or something, or on his pinky.
Oh, we'll talk about like drawing on your hands in a minute, but yeah, I
okay,
just
so
found that
then,
match astounding that Paul Lim lost.
Stephen Bunting took care of Jehan Artut 3-0.
Yeah, brushed him aside, and I expected
Only
a little.
86.
Yeah, I expected more from Artut. Artut didn't hit anything. He couldn't find the 20 with any regularity. He just didn't look real comfortable.
Van Barneveld took care of Dirk van Duijvenbode
Yeah.
3-0.
Yeah, that was one of these things where he actually has practiced with that guy a bunch of time. He's a countryman, and he really didn't put up much of a battle. I really liked the way Raymond was throwing, though. Raymond looked real smooth. His focus looked pretty good. I think he didn't want to beat on his buddy too bad, but
Took it easy. Lost a couple legs in the first two sets. And
yeah,
then said,
but
"All right,
when
I'm
he
done
really
with this."
yeah, but when he really needed to play, and when it came winning time, then he stepped up.
Right.
So, and I'm pretty sure he had a lot of confidence that no matter what happened, he was going to win that match. But after you see the people that have already went down that day, I don't know. But RVB looked good.
And then back to the Russian, he gets to play Mervyn King at the end of the night, and actually he loses 3-2. Mervyn King beats him, but
Mervyn King,
Alexander
Oreshkin took the first two
was up
sets.
2-0.
King was up 2-0 in the second set to level.
Mm-hmm.
And
Showed me this match.
Oreshkin took out a 116. I don't remember the next leg. And then he took out a 134 when Mervyn King was kind of like just coasting and was on 85. The look on Mervyn King's face was priceless.
Mm-hmm.
He just was like, you've got to be kidding me. And he just started laughing. He's like, well, okay. I guess some days it's not your day. I mean, that's what some of the commentators are kind of like, oh, it just didn't work out, just wasn't his day, bad day
Right.
at the office. I have no idea what happened. And I'm like, well.
But bad day at the office, but I mean, Oreshkin was literally hitting everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I mean, that's not
eventually,
a bad day at the office.
eventually it wore
Bad
off.
day at the office would be, well, I just, I only hit 60s. I didn't hit the triple 20s.
But look at what did he average against Mervyn?
86.
He averaged 86, but not in the first two sets.
No.
In the first two sets, his average was probably
Right.
over 100. So he kind of, the real Oreshkin showed
Yeah.
up in the end.
He only won one leg the next two sets, but actually took it down to the final, a 3-2 in the
last set.
the last set.
Yeah.
So.
And Mervyn played, pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
97.
Yeah, I mean, he started out a little slow, and I think last year against Darren in the first round, he averaged like 100. But, I mean, I was surprised he changed his darts. He used to use those big scalloped gold things, and he had, like, straight barrels, and I was like, seriously?
Yeah.
But he was throwing them good. He looked good.
All right,
Probably
well,
good
we're
for
due
Mervyn.
for a break, but we also got 3 days left to go. Should we do day 5 before the break?
Why don't we just go as far as we can?
All right. So day 5 starts with
Taking forever. Oh, John Michael?
John Michael
from Greece?
beats Warwick Sheffer 2-zip,
Yeah, pretty easily, and he looked good doing it. What did he average, 88?
88.
Yeah. Okay, he missed some doubles. I mean, he looked pretty solid. The other guy didn't really show up and do much.
Alan Norris takes care of Robert Thornton 3-1.
Wow. That was a beating like I haven't seen a top 10 player take in quite a while. I mean, Thornton was off his feed right off the bat, and Norris was just pounding the 20.
Yeah, the stats don't look like, Thornton didn't do anything.
What do you average?
88.
Under 90? I mean, that's not Robert Thornton's
Alan
usual
Norris
average.
threw 96.
But look how much he outscored him.
Mm-hmm.
Thornton didn't throw a ton 80. When was the last match he didn't have at least 1 ton 80? And you take away that 121 finish, and he's 2 for 8 on his doubles.
Right.
I mean, that's just like terrible. But he was under pressure from the first dart of the match. And Norris played great. Just played great, played loose, played relaxed, played confident. And I'm like, wow, good call. Good call. It'll be interesting to see how far he goes. I kind of hate to see Robert making all these faces in the first set, but
Right.
Norris was having none of it. He just went about it, and he crushed him.
Michael Smith took care of Jeffrey Deswan 3-2.
Yeah, and that went down.
19-year-old.
Yeah, that's the 19-year-old against the 25-year-old. That went down to the last leg where they had the diddle. And it was pretty obvious whoever won the diddle was going to win. And the Dutch kid missed the bull by at least half an inch, and I think Smith threw a single bull and had the throw, and that was it. They couldn't break each other for the whole fifth set. But look, what were the averages on that
95 and 96. Deswan threw a 96. He outscored him a little bit. His doubles were worse.
Yeah, his doubles were worse, and his doubles
but
were
had
why
17,
he lost.
17 more whacks at it.
Yeah.
But
he outscored Smith, and Smith was I wouldn't say he was off. He didn't look that comfortable, but the way this 19-year-old just had this like little smile on his face, went to the line and just pounded the 20.
Yeah.
And threw with such authority and such confidence for a 19-year-old. I was astounded. And he looked great. His stroke looked great. I mean, I was just like, where is this kid from? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he blew the diddle and he missed some doubles. Outside of that, he wins, and Michael Smith has a Christmas nightmare. He's lucky to get through this match, bully boy. And if he ends up, winning it or going real deep, He's not going to have a tougher match than
Right.
against Jeffrey there. That was a fun match to watch. I couldn't believe it. I was astounded.
James Wade beats John Michael 3-1 to
Yeah, I can't believe Michael won a set there.
end
but
day 5.
yeah, I mean Wade outclassed him, and the outcome wasn't in doubt after the first leg. It was pretty obvious that Michael was not going to beat him.
Right.
You just by going by body language and looking at what they were throwing, it was like, well, okay, you're totally outclassed here. But he hung in there. He didn't quit. That's a cool thing.
Of course,
he kept punching. You gotta admire that. I saw a couple of people quit, but he wasn't one of them. I heard
All right.
something too just before we get to the next day. If anybody in the chat room can tell me, I have a question for the chat room. The announcers during one of John Michael's matches said that during the WDF World Cup, the Greece team withdrew because of something. If anybody knows what the something is, I'd like to hear that. Less bling than Martin Adams. Martin Adams doesn't have a ring on his thumb. Anyway, so let's go.
We're ready for a break.
Are we
Then we'll
okay?
come back and we'll do the last 2 days.
We'll come back and do the last 2 days and preview the upcoming matches. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve P. We'll be right back.
You are now and forevermore warned that you consume this show at your own risk, and that Dart Talk cannot be brought to justice in any court or by any government, including and not restricted to the grand spaghetti monster of the Triple 20.
Okay, back for the fourth quarter of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official console distributor. And don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com, our website, Dart Talk US. We're on Twitter at Dart Talk, and we have a YouTube channel, Dart Talk US.
There you go.
Have at it.
Michael Smith almost pirouetted into DeJuan Lake. I like that.
Yeah, that was good. That was witty.
Yeah.
Anything on the other thing? Go down to the bottom there. What does that say? Wasn't eligible to play in the World Cup.
The 65% rule.
Too many PDC events. What they said was that they pulled the Greece team pulled out of the WDF. So I don't know if that was during it, and they said he didn't play in the semi or something. Like they let them play and then found out he broke the rule, and then they said he couldn't play in the semi, so then the whole team withdrew or something. I don't know, something like that.
All right.
WDF event. What do you expect? Okay. Where are we now? Day
6.
Oh, this was D-Day. Day
D-Day.
6 was D-Day.
All right. Dean Winstanley loses to Ronnie Hybricks 3-2.
So here's the deal.
That was the play-in match, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, that we're done with the play.
Oh, we are done. Yes,
we're
that
done
is
with the
correct.
play-in.
Right.
So here's the thing. You got two veteran players who are in basically the third tier trying to work their way up. Winstanley has a kind of a better pedigree than Ronnie does with the success he had in the BDO. And these guys are kind of friendly, and they've known each other. They're playing. It was like a pub match.
Mm-hmm.
It went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So finally, they're tied in the last set. And Winstanley was outplaying him, but every time he got ahead, Hybrix would do something to kind of bring them back together, or Winstanley would blow a double. So Winstanley's sitting on 40 and Hybrix is on 164. And while the announcer is saying that all Hybrix is trying to do is get down to a double, he goes, trip 18, trip 20, double bull. Wins the leg. Now he's a leg away, and it's his throw. And Winstanley is kind of outscoring him, and he leaves himself on 164 again. So what does he do? He goes for the 20, and he missed it. And immediately they're like, well, why didn't you do it the same way? You just took it out.
Right.
And I'm thinking I probably would have done the same thing, because what are the odds I'm going to take it out the same way, so I'll do it a different way. But I would never start on the 18 anyway.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Why would you
know.
start on the 18s at 164?
I don't know. I don't see any advantage to it. I really don't. What do you get if you throw a 72, then you're on 92, and you can throw a trip 20,
right.
For 32.
But then he leaves it. So he takes out 164, then 104 in successive legs and wins.
Yeah. Yeah. And
both times when Stanley's sitting on a double.
Yeah.
With 3 darts in his
after
hand,
playing for an
waiting.
hour. After playing for an hour. This turned into, if I'm not mistaken, this was the longest day. That's why I call it D-Day, the longest day. And, Darren was last on. So I don't know if that had any effect on Darren's performance or not. But so what was the average on that match?
88 for Winstanley and 91 for Hybrix.
Yeah, and Hybrix much better on the doubles.
Yeah, 43% to 32%. Basically the same amount of wax at it, 34 and 32. But
well, Winstanley had a couple more whacks at it and hit quite a few fewer.
Yeah.
So there you go. 9 180s that Winstanley threw. I mean, every time he needed one, he got it. And
really, if you just look at the stats, there are 3 more tons for Hybrix, but 1 more ton 40, but 1 ton 70 and 6 ton 80s more for Winstanley.
Yeah, it's 170 plus. It's like a 171 or a 177.
No wonder why he was always sitting on a double waiting, then.
Well, it was weird. He started out so good, and they were saying he drew a square on the back of his hand. And the idea was he was going to bring that square back to the same spot every time. That would fix everything that he'd been doing wrong, apparently. And then the announcers are like, well, how's he going to see the square? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, you probably see it out of the corner of your eye as you're looking at the target. I mean, there's such a thing as peripheral vision. I found that an interesting kind of thing for a player to do.
Yeah, but the problem is if you concentrate too much on the square, then you forget your follow-through.
Well, he started missing, and then they're like, well, I guess the square's not really working.
Yeah.
But he actually played pretty good.
Right.
I mean, it was a match could have went either way. So that was an entertaining 5th set. I will say that.
I bet.
I thought that was pretty compelling.
Wes Newton takes care of Cristo Reyes 3-1.
So, okay, here's Cristo Reyes.
Oh, my God, he outscored him by 10.
Cristo Reyes started out 12-darter, and then completely went to sleep. Wes Newton couldn't find the triple to save. He was playing so bad, he was just like standing there being like, okay, beat me so I can go home. At one point, he threw 9 darts to get to 341, which is like 60, 45,
like
60. Then he goes 180 and takes out the 161. And he's like, hey, look, I hit something. And it was just sort of like, seriously? And then, Cristo Reyes kind of picked it back up, outscored him by a mile, and then would get to a double and would be like, what's that outer ring for? Why is it so far from the triple?
26%, 7 out of 26.
Yeah, it was horrible. Wes Newton winning that match with an average of, 70?
77.
I don't know if he broke the record. The record for the lowest average winning a regulation match, not a play-in, was like 70-something.
Well,
so it's one of the worst displays of a winner ever had.
Because normally, even though if you shoot for a lower average and win, it's usually like by 1% or 2 or points. I mean, 87. Rayo shot 87 to 77.
I think Wes Newton won one of the sets with a 24-darter. So I mean, that's got to be on Reyes to like actually try hitting a double once in a while. He started out so good, and everybody was saying that Wes Newton was in bad form and everything. And Cristo Reyes was down 2-0 and was the favorite with the bookies.
Yeah,
that's how far like Wes Newton's reputation has fallen. So he won. I don't know how much progress you can make in a week when part of it's devoted to opening presents and eating Christmas goose or whatever, but that didn't look good. I felt bad for Wes Newton.
Dave Chisnell took care of Robbie John Rodriguez, 3-zip.
Yeah, and Robbie played good.
Yeah.
Robbie played good, and
89.
Chizzy's better. What do you average?
99.
99 point something. Yeah. So
He only averaged 34 on his double, so he just took it down and said beat me.
I mean, yeah, Robbie played good, but I mean, Chizzy was just ahead of him the whole time.
Right.
He just outscored him, and that's the kind of match that I expect to see from Chizzy. I expect him to outscore everyone, because if he doesn't, he's not going to win. Right? But like they're calling him the maximum man. I mean, he's the guy that's supposed to be raining all the ton 80s. So there's a lot of pressure on him. I think this is the first year that, there are people saying, Chizzy, you can win this. Not like, hey, you have a chance. No, you can win it. Mm-hmm. Not that you have a chance to win it. You can win this, dude. Because he has, shown, some great darts this year. Ugh.
And then in the last match, Darren Young loses to Terry Jenkins 3-1.
Yeah, I watched that match very, very carefully.
Darren threw an 83, Terry threw an 89 average.
I mean, it was a weird. I've never seen Darren play so deliberately and so slow with no rhythm at all, and with his first dart missing by a mile so often. I've never seen him play like that. Like his first dart would be a fat 20, an inch below the triple.
Mm.
Well,
below.
Yeah, below. And more than once. And I think that, in retrospect, I mean, I'm not going to speak for Darren. I mean, I'll try to get a hold of him when he's back. But, I mean, I've done that where when I'm off the 20, I'm like, screw it. And I'll start pounding 19s until I feel like I'm in some sort of rhythm, and then I'll try the 20 again. Because you don't have time. But the whole match was like that. I mean, he might have gotten discouraged. He managed to win the first set when he really shouldn't have. I mean, Terry would throw like 9 really good darts and with a couple of ton 40s or whatever, and then trying to set up a finish, throw like a 23 or something and really set himself back. Darren had a whack at 100 after Terry missed a double to win the set, and Darren parks his first dart in the 111, and I'm like, oh well, okay.
Seriously.
Yeah, you play
That's
cricket.
How he took out 100.
Yeah, you play cricket. You know how to do this. We've all done it. So trip 19, and then dead center in tops, and now he's up a set.
Right.
And he's like kind of joking around and patting Terry on the back, and I'm looking at Terry like, wow, okay, that's not going to help.
Well, of course he's joking around, because that's not how you draw up taking out a ton.
And then in the second set, Darren had a couple of legs where he threw a ton 80 and he was in good shape, but he blew 64. He hit the 16, and then was 2 barrels off outside the 8, and then the next one was almost in the same spot, and he blew a 66. And
yeah, it just says here that Jenkins took out a 121, 104, and 32 to win that set. So
yeah,
yeah,
but that's not like Darren didn't have chances.
64,
yeah, and after that, it was just sort of like Darren scoring less and less, and Terry throwing more ton 80s, and you kind of get a sense sometimes in a match that it's not happening for you and the writing's on the wall, but that's where you fight. That's where you try something. Do something to shake yourself up and to get back in the match. I would have liked to have seen Darren go at the 19s until he could consistently get his first. When your first start's an inch off, you can't really adjust. You can't work off of it. I don't know if he's not leaning forward as much as he normally does. I don't know if he's short arming his release a little bit. It was kind of hard to tell. He looked kind of the same to me. He just looked slow. It looked to me like his arm speed wasn't there. You look at some of these guys, their arms a blur, especially these younger guys. They're firing it in there, and it's not a lot of effort. I mean, like they're trying to throw hard, like Giordano Ventura or
like
something, where they're recoiling or something. No, but they have good arm speed, good extension, and Darren just looked like he was trying to almost like heavy arm slap him in there, and it wasn't working. And I'm like, I don't remember Darren throwing that way. So I thought it was uncharacteristic. And then he was kind of moving down the line, like he'd be a little bit blocked, and then he was going to move. And I'm like, just throw a ton 34.
Right.
What's the big deal? Throw a ton 77. Why is this? Yeah, it was weird. And then, he's on 85 and he goes for the 19 and I'm like, you really want 28 that bad?
Really?
Yeah. And it was just stuff like that. He seemed tentative, he seemed uncertain on the finishing. I mean, it was weird. It was like very Darren Young like. There's no way he wins the qualifier in Canada throwing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even Part was saying the level of play in Canada was pretty good. And I'm just sort of like, wow, that's tough. That's tough to see because I root for Darren and I rooted for Paul too. And I think of Darren is like, kind of a consummate player and they were very complimentary about him. I don't know. It was sad. He had been improving every year. So I was hopeful that he was going to play good.
Sure.
Yeah. Kind of took a step back.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah. That was
all right.
sad.
So now we move on to day 7.
And that was today.
That is today.
God, we're going long.
Where are we long? Andrew Gilding won 3-0 over Gerwin Price.
All right. I have a question for you. Now, in Batman, there was Mr. Freeze. Was there also an Egghead?
Not that
like
I
as
know
a
of,
villain?
but no.
Oh, okay.
Was there?
Well, I think he was playing darts against Gerwin Price. Batman was a long time ago.
Egghead won?
Egghead won. Egghead beat Gerwin Price like a drum. And, I was surprised because, I thought Gerwin Price. Here's the thing. Gerwin Price was a pro rugby player. And so he's a guy that knows how to perform on a stage, knows how to perform in front of people, and isn't going to get nervous and stuff like this. But Gilding just stood there and outplayed him from like the first start to the last start. Whatever Gerwin Price threw, Gilding had a better answer for. And it was pretty impressive because, Gilding had like a good showing at a tournament a while ago and then kind of like you stopped hearing about him. But he was, he pretty steady. So I was impressed. He just looks like, that's why I couldn't, I'm pretty sure if anybody in the chat room remembers the Batman TV show, there was a villain named Egghead. That's Andrew Gilding.
Okay.
Even though they called him Goldfinger. I get the pun on gold and everything, and he uses gold darts and everything, but Egghead would be like the perfect thing to have on the back of his shirt, the way Stephen Bunting has Peter Griffin.
Okay. All right.
All right, what's next?
I don't remember Egghead from that show. Benito Van de Pas beat Max Hopp 3-1.
Yeah, here was the funny thing. So
Max Hopp outscored him.
Yeah, I'm badly. I'm watching this with Jill, and Max Hopp does the walk-on. And I look at it for about 2 seconds, and I go to Jill, and I'm like, well, there's a first for darts. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, that's the first time the darter's been better looking than the walk-on girl. She's like, really? And then she goes to look, and she's like,
nice.
Yeah, he is.
Nice.
21, I think. He's the newly crowned youth champion. And just wailed on the 20. Just automatic from his hand into the 20, no problem. Ton 40, ton 40, ton 40. Get to a double, and it's like...
Where is it?
It's like, oh, wait.
I have to
double? I have to... So he was a total Chad. Can't hit a double. And Benito Van de Pas played very well. He did his scoring at the right times. He'd get behind in a leg because Hop started out... Or is it Hap or Hop?
Hop.
With an O?
19 ton 40s.
Yeah. Guy was a machine on the 20s.
Ton
but
40
he
plus.
just, he could not finish. And then Van de Pas would get his ton 80 late to pressure Hop's double, which, is generally, we've always said that. If you're going to throw a ton 80 in a leg, you're way better off doing it on your 7th, 8th, and 9th dart than your first dart.
Right.
Right? So it was kind of, Hop will be back, and Van de Pas ain't that old either. So it was kind of a fun match to watch. There was a lot of scoring. But when it came to finishing, it was one of those things where, I don't know how much more experience Van de Pas has, but it sure helped. Because, when it came down to a finish under pressure, Hop couldn't do it.
Adrian Lewis takes care of Jan Decker, 3-0.
Yeah.
Adrian threw a 99.
Yeah, and looked pretty casual doing it. I mean, Jan Decker... Even though he got a couple of legs in the first set and everything, all he did was irritate Adrian to play better. And Adrian just smoked him. And Decker's a good player and everything.
Jan's
but
numbers don't look that bad. He won 2 legs almost. Well,
he
two
won
legs,
5.
One, yeah.
Yeah, he won 5 for the whole match. But, I mean, he was outclassed. I mean, yeah, Lewis. Yeah, so what? You won that. You held your throw. Great.
Well, yeah,
you know,
that's
let's
the
move
thing.
on.
Jan throws 5 out of 6 on doubles
Yeah.
and doesn't win a set. So it's like you're just not getting that
You're
many
not getting enough
opportunities.
doubles because you're getting outscored
Right.
badly.
Yeah.
And, I know that's everybody's knock on 5-0 is all you got to do is throw it to 20. Well, there's more to throwing at it. You actually have to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Right.
you're not hitting it and the other guy is, I don't know what your plan is. I don't know what your plan B is. But it was pretty impressive, smooth sailing for Adrian Lewis there. I
Yeah.
expected Decker to put up more of a fight.
And your last match for the afternoon session, Yelly Clausen took care of Joe Cullen 3-0.
Yeah, and
Yelly
it didn't take long.
drew
The first
102.
set took like 4 minutes. The second set took like 7 minutes, and the last set took like 4 minutes. I was really happy, too, because I was hungry, and I was waiting for the match to go get something to eat. So I was appreciative. Yelly Clausen, that's the best I've seen him play in a while. I mean, what was his doubles average?
52, almost 53.
I
9
think-
out of 17.
I think all the ones that went in were on the double 18. He just kept setting it up.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you look at some of the other matches and the amount of tons and ton 40s and everything, and this guy, I mean, he only threw 9 tons, 9 ton 40s, 5 ton 80s, but, I mean, next thing you know, the match is over. He
Yeah.
can doubles and move on to the next one.
I mean, the Dutch are funny. I mean, he's on 78. I think 3 legs in a row he was on 78, and he kept trying to go double bull, double 14, and he kept missing it. And I'm like, why on earth are you going for double bull on 78? I don't see the percentage in that.
Yeah,
Because then
leave
now
yourself 53 or
57, right?
78.
Or
Well, if you hit the single,
then you're on 53.
right,
What are you going to do on 53?
right. 13 double tops, but or 78, you're leaving yourself 28.
Yeah. It's a double 14.
Yeah.
I just he kept doing it, and I'm like, well, you must have a reason, but all right, whatever. I wouldn't do it that way, but he's got 25 left. He goes 13 double 6, and I'm like, I do that when I'm messing around. I see the logic to it, but I'll tell you, the Dutch have their own way of finishing stuff, which is kind of fun to watch. All right, we're way long. Let's just read off who's playing who, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, second round, which
This
is
starts on
second round, which is
the
going
26th, which is what,
yeah.
Monday? No.
on Saturday.
Okay, so this starts on Saturday. Okay.
Yes.
Real quick, just
Ricky Evans, Jamie Caven.
I'll take Ricky Evans.
Chisno against Kist.
That'll be a good match to watch. I'll take Chizzy.
Anderson against Gurney.
I'm interested to see if Gurney can take at least 2 sets, but I'll take Anderson.
Michael Smith against Steve Beaton.
Beat down.
Beat down?
Yeah, I'll take Smith.
Oh. I thought you were had to play on words with beat down. That's could be
Beaton's
Steve,
going to get beaten down.
Steve Beat Down Beaton. Could be his new nickname.
That's way better than the bronzed Adonis.
Yeah.
Some of their nicknames need a lot of
I
work,
like that.
let me
Steve
tell you.
Beat Down Beaton.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You
but
can
you're-
hey Steve, you can have that for free.
But it's going the other way. He's getting he's getting the beat down.
I think Michael Smith, after getting by that last leg decider, he's going to be tough to stop.
Vandenberg against Van de Pas.
That should
the
be-
long name
yeah.
match.
Well, that'll be a fun match to watch. I'll take Vandenberg.
All right, Vandervoort against Kyle Anderson.
Another fun match to watch. I have no idea who's going to win that match. If Kyle Anderson wins that match, it's going to make his career. So he'll be motivated, and he should have a lot. Excuse me. He should have a lot of confidence.
Okay,
I think Vandervoort, more and more pressure every round.
that was the Sunday
him.
afternoon session. The Sunday evening session is Van Barneveld against Bunting.
Yeah, that should be a cracker. I think just looking at the way they played in the first round, Van Barneveld looks like he's in better form. We'll see what Bunting's got.
Wade against Newton.
That should be quick. The way Newton's playing, he may not even show up. He may just say, I've got an elbow injury and default. Because I don't think he wants to lose to Wade where he averages 60. I mean, seriously, there's something wrong with Newton. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There's
okay.
something wrong with him. Mental, physical.
I was confused because you
there's
said
something-
it should be quick. So I
I've
thought
never
you were
seen
gonna,
him play so
I
bad
thought
in
you
my
were going
life.
to take Newton, but if it was going
No.
to be quick because Wade's such a
No, I think it's going to be
Not-
quick
not a
because
fast
Newton's going to
player.
withdraw.
oh, okay. Van Gerwen against Darren Webster.
I will root for Darren Webster as long as he's there, and I don't think he's going to be there very long.
Okay.
I think Van Gerwen, there's only a couple of guys that could beat him,
Right.
but I'll be rooting for Darren.
Your Monday afternoon session, Alan Norris against Joe Murnan.
Was somebody in the chat room saying Joe Murnan is just really boring
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
What was up with that?
I don't know.
I don't know. He's a
don't know
handsome
the guy.
lad, but the way Alan Norris is playing, I expect Alan Norris to win that.
Jenkins against Webster.
I don't know. I don't know. I'll take. I would take Jenkins, but I don't know. Jenkins had some chinks in the armor against Darren, and Webster was nothing if not steady. I mean, he wasn't super duper hot or anything, but he was steady, and he was hitting his doubles when they counted. Terry missed some doubles.
I would look to see Webster after a slight scare that he had and having to deal with the Russian.
Oh, that wasn't Webster.
that wasn't
that was Mervyn King.
Oh, Mervyn King.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
Okay.
Pallet against Sulovic.
Yeah, I don't know. Can Sulovic keep averaging 100? Every time he does it, I just can't believe he's done it, and then he does it again. So I don't know. I'd stay away from that one.
Evening session, Adrian Lewis against Andrew Gilding.
That should be that's an interesting match, the way Gilding played. Gilding showed a lot of composure, I thought, today. And, Lewis was outstanding.
He was outstanding.
Lewis will be favored,
He
but
usually keeps a run like that going for
Yeah.
a while.
I would think that Lewis beats him, but that might be closer than people think.
Peter Wright against Ronnie Hybrix.
Yeah, Peter Wright's in better form. Ronnie showed the flashes of brilliance. I mean, he got by one. Let's see if he gets by another.
And then you have Phil Taylor against Kevin Painter.
The rematch of the most fun final I think I remember when I first started playing was they went down to a last leg decider in the championship, and Taylor won the throw and won it with like a 16-darter or something. And Painter hasn't been back to the final since. Sentimental favorite maybe for Painter, but I think Phil's in better form.
And then you have one match in the afternoon session on Tuesday, December 29th before the third round starts, and that's Mervyn King against Yelly Clausen.
So many good matches. Yelly played so good today. I was really surprised how well he played. Mervyn played good, but you're talking about the scare from the Russian. I mean, maybe a 134 to win the set. If Yelly does it, he's not going to be surprised. He almost would expect it. When the Russian hits it, there's like some sort of weird shock thing.
Yeah.
I think Mervyn was shocked he lost the first set. When he lost the second set, he was like, "Oh my God," in panic. So yeah. I don't know. So many good matches. It'll be really great darts starting Friday? Saturday.
Saturday the 26th.
Starting Saturday.
Saturday the 26th.
Okay, and then we'll be back next Wednesday, and we'll continue our PDC coverage from Watch ESPN. Hopefully the feed won't drop like it did, in the middle of Darren's match.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, it dropped for like a leg and a half.
Well,
I
that's
was
too bad.
so furious. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I've been waiting all week for this, and now this. It was funny, too. I actually tweeted to we're going to have to wrap up the show, but I'll finish with this. I tweeted to the PDC Twitter account. They had a bleed on the audio Tuesday. So I tweeted that the audio was bleeding, and it kept bleeding over. They had a woman who was telling the cameraman to, go down or up, depending on what the guy was throwing at, like a spotter. And then she was counting down to the bumpers and everything. So they never fixed it. So finally I tweeted them again because she said, hey, Wes Newton has the darts in the next match. And they had just started the set, so they weren't going to play for like 20 minutes. So I tweeted, oh, so Wes Newton has the darts, and la-di-da-di-da, you should fix this. And then they got back to me, and they're like, what are you actually watching? So then they knew it wasn't a prank because I quoted her. It wasn't on the air. It wasn't the announcers that said Wes Newton because they diddle in the back room, in the practice room.
Okay.
Right, in advance.
Right.
Then they realized that I actually was telling the truth, that there was this bleed, and then they fixed it. So they just wanted to know what I was watching.
Nice.
So even though I told them. So Twitter works. You can tweet us at Dart Talk. I'm out of breath. We're going to wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Merry Christmas. Hope everybody enjoys their holidays. We will be back.
Happy New Year.
Well, we could say that next week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I might not be here.
Seriously?
Oh, I won't be here. I'm out of town.
You're out of town.
Yeah.
No show next week. So then we'll be back with a recap of the World Championships because they'll be over
Okay.
by the time we go back.
No, I'm out of town.
Thanks for mentioning it.
Well, we talked about it in the pre-show fist fight.
I do not
never even put 2 and 2 together that I wasn't going to be back Wednesday.
If somebody wants to guest host that's in Chicago, get in touch with me. Otherwise, we're not having a show because I'm not going to do it myself.
My hat's in the closet if you want to wear it.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Well, I'm serious. If anybody wants to guest host next week, just email darttalk@gmail.com. Otherwise, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.